Hey kiddos, good morning. I hope you're doing well. Yesterday or Friday or whatever day it was last with Read Aloud, we have come into an issue with Hattie. Now, we already don't like Hattie, but she's really the only one besides Mandy who knows about Ella's curse. And so she's clearly taking advantage of it. However, Ella was able to get truth out of her too. But the issue that Hattie did was she told her or ordered her that she's never to be friends with Erida again, who's the only friend she has. So I said my prediction last time was that she's going to find some loophole to get around it. She's going to find a way to be friends with her still, but I'm kind of nervous. I don't know about you. So, chapter 12. Hattie returned to the house, but I stayed outside. I watched her leave, hating her way of walking. A mince combined with a waddle. She looked like a stupid duck, I thought. She stopped to pick a flower and lifted it to her nose. I sat on a bench and stared down at the pebbled walk. In all the times I imagined the miseries she could inflict on me, I had never in a million years imagined this. I thought of injuries, I imagined terrible embarrassments, but I'd never thought of this kind of hurt. Erida was in our room now, waiting to give me a lesson in Erythian, her language. I remained seated. I couldn't face her. Was there a way to stop being friends without hurting her? I could pretend I had suddenly become mute, so I wouldn't have to talk to her. But in that circumstance, she'd be my friend as much as ever. She'd talk to me and we invent a sign language, which would honestly be great fun, Ella thought. And that would be ending our friendship. And that wouldn't be ending our friendship. So the curse wouldn't let me do it. Besides, a mistress would be sure to say, "Speak, Ella," and I would have to, unfortunately. I could announce I'd taken a vow of loneliness, but Erida would be hurt that I'd taken such a vow. If only Mother hadn't forbidden me to tell anyone about the curse. Oh no, that's where my prediction just gets shut down. Man. But then again, explaining it would be an act of friendship, which the curse also wouldn't allow. The bell rang out to us to get out of bed. I was late again, but tonight there was no Erida to joke with about our tardiness. In our room, she sat on my bed, completing a letter for writing mistress. Where were you? I've been reviewing the imperfections of your letter. I'm tired, I said, not answering her question. Perhaps I didn't look tired or troubled, because she didn't press me. Perhaps I did look tired or troubled, because she didn't press me further on it. She only patted my arm and said, "We can study it tomorrow." In bed, I didn't want to sleep. I wanted to savor the last few hours before I had to really hurt her. Sleep on, Erida. Be my friend for one more night, she thought. A long vigil lay ahead. I don't know what that means. I pulled out my magic book. I opened a letter from Dame Olga to her daughters. My sweet darlings, your poor mother is delicate without you. I attended a cotillon last night at the palace. I wore my wine-colored gown and my ruby pendant. I looked magnificent. But it was for naught. The company was thin because King Gerald is away, although Prince Charmant was there. That charming man, Sir Peter, wasn't there either. I was delicate. I understand he is off traveling and becoming richer, I imagine. I wish him well, and will be first to pay my respects when he returns. 3 pages followed describing Dame Olga's social calendar and her wardrobe, and the wonderful things she was wearing. In closing, she remembered she and her daughters, and was writing to them. She was, in closing, she had remembered that she had daughters and was writing to them, and thought maybe she should address them. I hope both of you are eating well to keep up with your strength. Olive, pray remember not to eat Madame Edith's flowers. If you were too sickened or die, I shall be delicate. So that must mean really sad or anguished or heartbroken. Hattie, I hope you found a trustworthy servant to dress your hair. Madame E. promised it could be arranged. I expect the two of you are amazingly finished by now. But do not toil too hard, my dears. If you can sing and dance charmingly, eat delicately, and sew a little, you'll be fine ladies, and I shall be very proud of you. My sweets, the carriage has arrived. I am in my lemon silk calling gown. I must fly. Your adoring mother, remember, always do me well, and make me very proud. Love, Dame Olga. Why was a trustworthy servant necessary to dress Hattie's hair? I compared the luxury dresses of Hattie. I compared the luxuries that Hattie's mother had said to her, and I'm sorry, I said that whole thing wrong. I compared the luxuries of Hattie's hair and her mother with Olive's thin curls, and I remembered Hattie's attack on my hair after she smelled the bogweed. I laughed aloud. Hattie and Dame Olga wore wigs. I had no idea. Wow, that made me happy. Thank you, Dame Olga. I hadn't expected to laugh tonight. I turned the page. On the verso with an illustration of a centaur colt, Apple. Remember how the prince gave her a present of the centaur, so this is who she's talking about. I was sure, nuzzling a young man Shar. The colt was a beauty. His hide, and if you don't know, I just realized you might not know what this is. A centaur is a half human, half horse, but in this case it seems like more of a horse, so like a pet. His hide was a deep brown, with a tan mane and an irregular tan star on his chest. Skinny and leggy, but was made for speed, although he was too young to be a rider. Would he ever really be mine, I wondered? On the right was a letter from Shar to his father. So you guys, this book that Mandy gave her is amazing. It just gives her access to everything, to spying on people, to reading people's letters. I want this book. Go like this if you do too, because whoa, what cool, awesome powers would that be? Dear Father, and this is from Shar, Prince Charmant. Dear Father, I hope this finds you well and safe. My mother and my sister and brothers are in good health, as am I. Since I received instructions to join you, I have been filled with gratitude for your confidence in me. The knights you have chosen to follow me are the most wonderful and strong of our community. My mother worries, but I tell her they will not let harm to me. In truth, Father, I am so stirred up by the thought of my first military duty, even if it's only renewing border troops, that I hardly hear my good mother. Who knows, perhaps the ogres will raid me and there will be a skirmish, and I will no longer be able to serve you. I do not fear this, or fear injury, only that I may not be able to be myself during it. The thought of Shar with ogres, how could there not be danger? My heart thumped. Shar continued to describe the visit of a trade delegation and the same ball that Dame Olga had attended, although he did not mention what he had worn. Near the bottom of the page, my name appeared, and my eyes shot up in surprise. I am training a centaur colt. For a lass I know. Her mother was the late Lady Eleanor. I admire the daughter quite deeply, Ella. She has gone to finishing school, where I fear she will be made less admirable. What do they teach in such places? Sewing and curtsying? It is a great distance to go to learn Such small tricks. Would he stop liking me now that I was no longer clumsy? I had never enjoyed being a small elephant. And now a small elephant's a metaphor because elephants are quite clumsy and they have big limbs, so that's what she's comparing herself to. And I hadn't mourned the loss till now. Would he even be alive to stop liking me, or would he be an ogre's lunch? My heart sunk at the thought. The next page was a letter from father to his bailiff. Dear James, the postcoach comes rarely to the elves' forest, but it came today. I am still with the greenies. And remember, this is like a slang term, but not a nice term that he uses for the elves, so we don't like her father at all. The trading has been disappointing. They have not so much as shown me an Algalin, no matter what I bring out to tempt them. Their chief trader, Stennen, shows little about bargaining. He gave me 3 vases in exchange for a gnomish copper stew pot, and the same for a simple wooden flute. Below were 3 pages of trades and sales. He closed with his intentions. I am making for Ulix's farm. You may remember Ulix, the giants, who entrusted her turnip harvest to me last year, on October 15th. She will marry off her daughter, and I shall be there. I should like to see the giant's wedding. The ritual is said to be peculiar. Moreover, several fairies are likely to be present. They say hardly a wedding or birth takes place without at least one in attendance. If I can persuade a few to reveal themselves, I may be able to pick up some fairy-made gifts. I swallowed. My mouth had gone dry. Mandy had never told me that fairies like to go to weddings and births. She and Lucinda had both, and if you remember who Lucinda is, she's her fairy godmother who gave her that horrible gift of obedience. So I'm still predicting that she's going to find her. I'd been present when I was born. Perhaps Lucinda would go to the giants. It was the first time I'd ever known a definite place where she might be, where I might be too, if I could get there. She might even be in a generous frame of mind, especially if she had just cast a well-meant horrible spell. Perhaps she would be so pleasant and pleased that she'd release me from mine if I begged her to let my awful curse go. I hadn't promised father I would stay at finishing school, only that I would go, and this was my loophole to his command. I could leave whenever I wanted, and by leaving, I would never have to take another order from Hattie. Erida would still think I was her friend, and if I succeeded with Lucinda, I still could be her friend. How late was I? How much of the night was left to travel? I stood up, then sat down again, then stood up again. How far was the Ulix's farm? The wedding was less than 2 weeks off. Could I get there in time? Frantically, I rifled through the pages of my book, hoping to find a map there. But it was the same one I'd looked at in the carriage on the way to finishing school of Frel, and no use to me now. No matter, I get directions somehow. In 5 minutes, my carpet bag was picked with a few essentials: tonic, my magic book, my dictionary, a shawl, and little else. After a long look at Erida's sleeping form, I left. I paused before the door to Daisy's room, then went in. With quiet steps, I approached Hattie's bed. She frowned in her sleep and mumbled. I only understood the word royal. Her wig was askew. Neat-fingered as I had become, I was able to lift it off without her waking. Now, what to do with it? I thought. If I threw it into the dying fire, the smell might wake someone. I could drape it over the head of the china cat that adorned the mantelpiece. But if Hattie had woke early, she could rescue it before anyone saw. So I took it with me as a trophy of my defeat. As a trophy of my triumph. I finally won against Hattie. Next chapter is chapter 13. Now, you guys, finally we're getting somewhere good with this story. She's now on the hunt for Lucinda. So she's going to see some pretty cool things, I predict. So, what do you predict? Have a great day.